Hello and welcome to my iTunes song search app. This is an application I built with HTML and JavaScript. This is an application where you enter a song artist and you click search, and then the app displays the list of songs for that artist. Now I built this with using an API, and an API is an application programming interface. And just like it sounds, it's an interface whereby I can access data on someone else's server and integrate it into my own website, app, or whatever I'm building. Now, this is the API right here. And then whenever this happens, the request and exchanges data happen over HTTP. And what I mean by that is that the browser sends a message to the API endpoint. That protocol is called the HTTP, which is the same protocol that web browsers use when you visit a website. So in this application, instead of loading an HTML page, the API actually returns a JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And JavaScript Object Notation is in a structured format, essentially containing key value pairs that in an array is easy for programs to parse and work with. Here I'm fetching that JSON and extracting the song titles to display on my page. So this is where I got if you go to the Apple iTunes and you read through their documentation, you could actually search there's a lot of instructions here on how to go about getting that API to work. So I follow the instructions, and this is my app right here. What we do is I loaded it up on a live service that's running right now my Chrome browser, and eventually this API comes from literally from iTunes Search API. It's a public API provided by Apple for searching music. Now this one is actually open to the public. It doesn't require authentication, which makes it useful for lightweight projects and learning API fundamentals. Again, with this public API in my app, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in an artist name and then I'm gonna click search. So for example, let's use Blake Shelton. Once I click search, I use the Fetch API with async and a wait to send a GET request to the iTunes search point. I pass the artist name as a query parameter and a URL encoded to safe handle spaces and special characters that may come back. Now, URL encoding ensures that the text that a user types, including spaces, some kind of special characters, is translated into safe format that can be included in a URL. So, for example, spaces, and in this scenario, spaces are converted so that they don't break the query string. So this is where I use the encodeURIComponent in my program. That way, when you type in the artist and you click search, the API receives a properly formatted search song list. That way, you're able to read it properly. Now here I added two cases of error handling. So for example, if response is not okay, then we'll get some kind of feedback letting the user know that you didn't type in the artist name properly, or the artist is not available in the iTunes database. So for example, if I were to type in something like some kind of artist that is not already in the iTunes database, we'll get a message that'll say error fetching data. And if the artist is there but there's no songs found, you'll get a no songs found. And if you type in an artist and then return no songs, then you'll get a message no songs found. As you can see, these two here, for example, if the response is not okay, that way the app can gracefully fail if the request doesn't succeed. It also handles where, for example, right here, where if the search has no results, the user gets feedback instead of just being something empty. And they're wondering if there's something that they did wrong or there's just no songs available. So now let's take a look at how this works. I typed in Blake Shelton, I hit search, And these are all the songs right here from that artist. Now let's type another artist. Let's just say Matthew West, and I click search. Then we have all the songs from Matthew West. And let's type another artist, Shakira. We have all the songs available from Shakira in the iTunes song search database. And let's just say we type something that's not, it doesn't recognize as an artist. Let's just make something up like Lelo Moso. Click search, and that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted no songs found. So it sees that the database is equal to 0, so therefore it returns a message, no songs found. So this allowed me to validate both successful responses and a response where there's 0 search results. Now again, this was just built with HTML and JavaScript, and I added a README file in here as to the purpose of what this app is for, features, the tech stack I use, how it works, and the API that I use. And if you'd like to take a look at the API, the official documentation's here, my README file. And this was the tutorial for my iTunes song search app. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.